This is KLEAN Radio.
And now I'm on. Welcome, everybody, to KLEAN Radio. And happy July 4th weekend to everybody. I hope everybody out there has had a safe and amazing weekend. I actually had an amazing July 4th weekend. I got to be of a lot of service and barbecue for quite a few people. And one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was, independence and alcoholism and addiction. You are dependent. And one of the great things about being sober is that you're no longer dependent. You're independent from drugs and alcohol. And I'd love to know how people out there spent their July 4th weekend. And I'd love to hear from people that are still dependent, depending on alcohol and drugs. And how are we going to help you tonight? And I want to get you to give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. The hashtag tonight is compassion, because I do believe that that is the way to help people, is by being compassionate. Also, we're going to be discussing tonight your favorite movies that deal with alcoholism and addiction. So go to Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio or @KLEAN Radio on Twitter. Let us know what you think. My co-host with the most, Andrew Spanzwick, is not in tonight, but we have one of the... Every time she's on this show, somebody gets sober, so we want to bring her back as much as humanly possible. Let's welcome back Mackenzie Phillips.
Hey, Judah. Hi, everybody out there.
Hey, Mackenzie. And what's amazing is, and I was telling you this story, I shared about it last week. I was in the Portland airport. My flight got delayed last week. Somebody walks up to me and goes, "Hi, are you Judah from KLEAN Radio?" I go, "Yes." I was a little nervous for a second. And he goes, "I really, your show saved my life." That show that Mackenzie was on, I was able to tell my wife that I have a problem, and he got sober. And let's welcome Mackenzie.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
Man, that's why we do what we do. You with KLEAN Radio and just working with other people, is that because it's like the ripple effect. One person gets clean and it affects another person and affects another person, and before you know it, we got a clean nation coming.
That's exactly right, like the Clean Army.
Exactly.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about was being independent and independence. And I don't think enough people realize out there that, my 4th of July's, and I was talking, when we get sober, we have a lot of bad memories. We have memories of holidays that, our family holidays or our own holidays. And the thing about sobriety is, and for me, July 4th, and I don't have bad memories of my July 4th because I have 15 sober July 4ths.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So yeah. I've created this. My memories are great memories, and so many people drink and they relapse before they. They say don't quit before the miracle. Don't quit before you make memories.
Let me say this also, is that I heard this amazing quote, and I think, I don't know if it was Oprah's own quote, and I'm paraphrasing, is that acceptance is giving up the hope of having had a better past, right?
Right.
So what we do when we get clean and sober is that we are constantly creating those new memories. We're creating a new past that is that kind of can supersede or transcend the negativity that we've experienced previously.
Let's attribute it to Oprah, because
okay.
I want Oprah maybe one day hearing this and going, that's KLEAN Radio, gave me a shout out. So yes, it's from Oprah. Mackenzie.
Hi, Oprah.
Hey, Oprah, and
we
thank
love you.
And one of the couple things I wanted to talk about quickly was in the news is, Robert Downey Jr.'s son was arrested, and the reason I want to talk about that is because, again, hashtag tonight is compassion, because whatever he's going through, it's so much in our culture to say he comes from this type of family or this or that, and it doesn't matter whether he's got addiction or not. If we have compassion, don't talk badly, there's a chance he could get help.
We always we have this sort of collective national consciousness of giggling and laughing whenever we see a wasted celebrity or a funny mugshot or something like that. And by doing that, whenever we do that, what we're doing is we're turning another person away from being willing to get recovery. Because if people are laughing at Justin Bieber's mugshot, or people are making fun of Downey for having a child who's having these problems, what are they going to say about me? What is my little circle of people going to say about me? We need to stop we need compassion. We need to show compassion.
I think it's okay with Justin Bieber, though. We need to let, and I'm joking.
I'm glad you're joking, but I get it, too, because he really hasn't behaved rather well at all.
But it goes back to you, too. It goes back to you were sharing a really, I think it's an amazing story you're sharing that happened in 1992, your first rehab.
Oh, yeah.
And I really want you to paint this picture because it's an incredible picture.
Okay, so here we go. This wasn't my first rehab, but it is the rehab from which I remained sober for 10 years. Okay, so it was 1992, and I pulled up at this beautiful rehab called Alina Lodge in Blairstown, New Jersey, which was run by a woman named Geraldine Delaney. If you want to Google her, you'll find out that she was, when I met her, she was 85 years old, 45 years sober. She knew Bill and Lois. And, I pulled up in a white stretch limo wearing suede hot pants and forest green tights and, the whole thing.
Hubba.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes because I knew this was a zero tolerance for tobacco. I opened the limo door and the clouds of smoke come out and I get out. And in my head, there's theme song music behind me, getting out of this limo and arriving at treatment. And I walk into Gratitude Hall and I'm thinking, who names a building Gratitude Hall? What's wrong with these people? And it's this big wood-paneled room, and I look up, and there are all these plaques all around the edge of the up by the ceiling, and one of them says, "Let go and let God." And one of them says, "Think, think, think. Take it easy." And then the next one, I saw it, and I went, "Oh, my God, they knew I was coming." It said one day at a time. I seriously thought that they had put that up there because of my TV show. We want to talk about entitlement and pretty crazy. But something that Mrs. Delaney taught me is something that we were talking a little bit about before. It kind of, independence from addiction. She said to me, Mrs. Delaney said, "One day you'll understand what I'm talking about." And I say this to my clients at Pasadena Recovery Center all the time. I say, freedom lies on the far side of discipline. There are certain things that we as people in recovery are asked to do or we need to do to maintain on a daily basis and be present in our lives happily and usefully whole, in the day that we're in, clean and sober. And I call those disciplines. And if I do those certain things, I am free to go anywhere. I am free to do anything. I can be completely non-dependent. And that's one of the things that Mrs. Delaney taught me.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. That's Mackenzie Phillips.
Hi.
Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Our hashtag tonight is compassion. And go to KLEANradio.com, Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Tell us what you think. I also wanted to talk about quickly, so there's the Indio Downey Jr. story, and it's also, I've spoken about this guy in the air a couple of times. His name is Josh Gordon. He's an amazing receiver for the Cleveland Browns, but he's got a drug problem. Mm-hmm. He's been suspended a few times. He got a DUI this past weekend, and he's going to be suspended by the NFL for a year.
A year.
And Buddy Totten actually raised a great point to me before. He said to me, and he said, the NFL still treats addiction and alcoholism like it's a moral issue and not as a disease, because if they understood this, he's not doing this to enhance his NFL career. Nobody's smoking pot and drinking so they become a better athlete. I understand why they have strict policies as far as steroids and all that stuff goes, but we're talking about drug addiction. We're talking about a
hijacked brain. We're talking about someone who's lost the power of choice, and that's what happens when you cross that bizarre, invisible line into addiction and alcoholism. That the brain looks at it as though it were food or water. It's a survival instinct. And that's why so many people judge it as a moral deficiency, because they don't understand the chemistry of the brain and what's really happening to the addict and why it's happening.
And the question is, I wish the NFL would have compassion with this guy, put him in rehab. Yeah. Get him help. Yeah. The answer isn't banning him for a year and saying, oh, whatever, come back in a year and have a clean drug test. Because the odds are, if you're an addict or you're an alcoholic, that's not going to happen.
Look, when I was on One Day at a Time, they would suspend me and they would say, you know what, go get well. And this was in the 70s and 80s, and I thought, well, what does get well mean for someone like me? I'd go and, I'd get my hair cut, I'd get my teeth clean, and I'd buy new clothes, and I'd come back at the end of the suspension having changed nothing but the outside.
Right.
The inside was still on fire and boiling over. And that's basically what the NFL is doing to this guy. They're telling him to go get well and come back better without giving him a battle plan.
That's exactly right. And I know people sometimes hear this, and it's hard. Addicts, alcoholics, we do stupid stuff. Yeah. We hurt a lot of people, and we do a lot of damage. But the truth is, it's not done intentionally.
No.
For the most part. It's really not done intentionally, and it's hard for people to see because so much anger is, the team gets angry, your family gets angry,
and the social stigma attached to it.
Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah.
And the truth is, he's not doing it to you. He's the addict and alcoholic is doing it to themselves. It's not. They're not actively seeking to hurt you. You're just in the path.
Right.
And that's why it's so hard sometimes for people in the society to say have compassion. But I hate to say that is the way to help people is through compassion. If you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, so give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Hashtag tonight is compassion. Mackenzie Phillips is in studio. Let's get to Brad calling from Portland, Oregon. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, Brad.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having the show on here. So the topic I know is about compassion. A year and a half ago, we had to go through something that on the surface didn't seem compassionate. It's turned out very well, so in a way it is. But my son at the time was 19 and was stealing from us and had become addicted to pain pills. Accident, and I mean there was some, quote, legitimate reasons to be involved in that, but as a parent, I did everything denying the possibility. He was a very bright kid and made excuses, and I wanted to believe him and things, but then it became obvious that he had stolen a bunch of stuff from him, and his mom and I sat him down and said, you've got two choices. We have the rehab facility already set up for you. Let's go. Or you can't be in our home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we are going to report you to the police.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose the latter, called our bluff or did whatever. So on his 20th birthday, he was arrested and charged with felony. We worked our way through all that, but then forced to go to a facility. And is thriving, doing great, back in college.
That's amazing.
And what was great with the 3 months that he spent, we were able to swing that. But he learned that he wasn't in charge of everything. He was super smart, easy grades, just rolled. And he found out that he wasn't the smartest guy in the room, and then he wasn't smart enough to do it. But, I mean, long story about that. Sorry, but where's compassion and tough love come together?
Well, I'll tell you something. What you did was showing compassion for him in a very specific kind of way. And also you were showing compassion for yourself and your wife. Right,
you did it with love. Here's the thing. I'm not, there's different definitions of what tough love is. Andrew and I are very against some forms of tough love, which is usually you're out of the house or you get sober. You actually, Brad, had a plan.
That's the thing.
You presented him a plan. Rehab or, you're
going down.
Or you're going down.
Yeah.
And he called your bluff and you had to go with it. But you had compassion. There was love with, you searched out probably facilities. You did all this stuff. Right. So that's showing compassion. That's showing love. You also had to, do it a little firmly, with firmness and all that. But the problem I always say with tough love sometimes is if you're not giving an option. You can't just be you're on the street.
Right, you had it all planned out.
Right, you actually set it up. So as bad as he was getting, he still knew his mom and dad loved him because you presented it with that.
And the amazing thing is that you followed through.
Yes.
When he didn't take the treatment option, then you absolutely stood your ground and followed through. Had you not, he would probably still be walking all over you, and maybe he might not have survived. So
yeah, we got to spend his 21st birthday not having drinks, but having a steak dinner, and
that's amazing.
A year ago, this would have never happened.
And I love that you're calling and telling us because so many parents out there are going through this crisis right now because they don't know what to do. And there are so many amazing groups out there like Al-Anon or even just therapists because parents need to get better too. They need to work together, and you guys work together to help your son.
We had pretty much the white picket fence, and we denied that could be a possibility.
Could even happen.
Yeah. That whole thing.
That's the thing that we're seeing all across our country is that drugs and alcohol are elemental. They do not care who they addict, and we're finding it in socioeconomic places where it was really like, that might happen now and then, but now it's really sort of it is exploding, and we are in the grips of an epidemic. And you did a great thing,
But
really
Brad, it's very similar to my father. My father would always say to me, anytime you get a bed in a treatment center, you give us a call, we'll get you sober. But until then, kiddo, you're on your own.
On your own, buddy.
And he, and I knew that I could always make that call, and he would put me in a treatment center. So that is compassion. I knew my parents had love. It's when it's when the anger is there, and and all that. That's
what happens is, here's the addict in the middle. Everyone around the addict gets sick in some way, and so unless you treat it as a family problem, in which I think you did, then you're just, if people are just pointing fingers and going, "You're bad, you suck, get out of here," you're not gonna. That's you get more flies with honey.
And Brad's from an area. I was actually in Portland last week. I shared, but Brad's from an area. I've been watching this TV show called The Killing. And I'm not suggesting people watch it, but one of the seasons was about the homeless youth.
It's unbelievable.
In Portland, and the epidemic of addiction and all that stuff. As a parent in Portland, I would be scared.
Yeah,
it's really tough. They're aggressive, young,
and they're everywhere on the streets of downtown.
And the pills stuff up here, and the heroin. The pills are easier to get than heroin.
Hey, Brad,
not for long. The pills are going to run out, and heroin's cheaper. That's what we're all scared of.
Yeah.
Brad, thank you so much for the call.
Yes.
Hey,
if you can go to facebook.com/KLEAN Radio and just like us, and just keep in touch. Anytime you ever need anything or want anything, give us a call.
Will do. Thanks.
Tell
Thank
your
you so
son
much.
we said hi.
I will do it. Thanks.
Thank you.
And that was Brad calling from Portland, Oregon. If you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. That's Mackenzie Phillips co-hosting with me tonight. And I love hearing that. I love hearing a parent and parents getting together, because I don't think a lot of people were... A big part of treatment is the family.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the things we stress tremendously so is it's not just... it's a long process, and for some reason with addiction, people don't, they want it right away.
Yes.
Even the family members. Nobody says to a guy that just gets diagnosed with cancer, when are you getting back to work?
Yeah.
I know you're going through chemo. I know you're losing. Come on, let's go to it's time to get better.
If you find a treatment center that doesn't have a strong family program, then really it's probably not the place to go. We try and keep our family really a huge part of the process at Pasadena Recovery Center, as I know you guys do over at KLEAN. So
yes, that is a huge focus of ours. Listen, it's a family thing.
Yes, it is.
The family's got to get. That was a huge part of my story. Was my family got better, and Al-Anon. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. It's free for people out there that are suffering, and I love that Brad called and shared his hope, because so many parents don't know what to do. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're in with Mackenzie Phillips tonight. One of the things we posted on Facebook is what are some of your favorite movies that deal with alcoholism and addiction? We're going to get to that pretty quickly after the break. And don't worry, John, and the calls have been lining up, because everybody loves a little Mackenzie Phillips. and it's really true. It's amazing. I can't wait to know. And it probably might not happen tonight. I want to know who's going to get help this episode from you being on. And I'm sure it's a lot of people. And
I hope so. I think it's a combination of all the energy that you and me and Andrew have put out on the times that I've been on the show.
The positive juju. So if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. Give us a call. It's 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. When we come back in a couple seconds, we're going to get to your favorite movies about addiction, alcoholism. Let us know what they are. The discussion will continue at KLEAN Radio.
KLEAN Radio.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.
Welcome back to KLEAN. Welcome back to KLEAN. Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. It was like it took me. I wanted to really say welcome back 3 times and make sure I was on the air each time. In studio tonight is Mackenzie Phillips.
Hey there.
Yes, and also always our budsman, Delmer Buddy Totten, and we posted on Facebook. We posted, I got to give him a shout out, because Rod Espudo, who's been on the show, who posted the show, I asked, on Facebook, what are you grateful to be independent from? And Rod Espudo, of course, writes his ex-wife.
Lovely.
Which I think is hysterical, Rod Espudo. And Buddy, what do we got on Facebook? Because we asked, what are some of your favorite movies about alcoholism and addiction? What are they?
Okay, so when a man loves a woman.
Boo.
Boo his boo.
Yeah.
Okay, clean and sober.
Yeah, it's okay.
Home run.
I have no idea
I
what
don't
that
know
is.
Home Run.
Either.
Yeah.
Days of Wine and Roses.
Oh,
Best.
yeah,
The
okay.
best.
Yeah, it was very popular.
Yes.
Lost Weekends.
It sounds good.
Okay.
That's what happens when you
Had a
drink too
bunch.
much.
Right,
Had a
right.
bunch.
Way too many, yeah.
Right. 28 Days.
Okay.
And then Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, you two guys have done some illicit drugs when you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
to
that
that
one's
movie.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, Train Spotting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We're talking about hopeful, though.
Yeah.
No, I know. Well, there's hope.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. And Traffic.
Nobody said Crazy Heart?
Nobody
one said
'cause
Crazy
You
Heart.
know what I've realized? It's actually most people, there's so many great movies out there that do deal with recovery, even though they don't always push it in your face. And Shawshank Redemption, to me, is one of the greatest movies about recovery. And a lot of people don't see the recovery in that movie, you know, but as I guess maybe I was in rehab at the time that Shawshank came out. So I was like, wow, this is so
That could be
great
it. Yeah.
for recovery. But the whole point in that movie was, you know, he drank. You know, he drank a lot. And the night his wife died, he really didn't have an, you know, nobody believed him because he was a drunk.
He was a drunk, yeah.
And, you know, there's a great scene on the roof where they're all tarring and they're all painting the roof. And one of the, you know, the only thing he wanted was beers for his friend. And one of them came up to him and goes, hey, do you want a can of suds? And he goes, I don't drink anymore. And, you know, to me, it was such a powerful part of the movie because he realized that's what got him into prison was the drinking. So,
Well, I think also, you know, you talked about movies that kind of shove recovery in your face, and I do believe that the end part of Crazy Heart did kind of shove it in your face.
and so that's my movie is Shawshank. You're Crazy Heart, but I also love the movie Rush. And one of my favorites is a movie called People Like Us. I suggest everybody out there go to watch People Like Us.
Yeah. Flight. It was another movie that a lot of people posted.
What about you, Buds?
Me? I mean, I like Unforgiven. It's a Western.
See, there you go. A movie I never would have thought about.
Yeah. It's the ultimate relapse movie for me. Yeah.
And that's Delmer Buddy Totten. Buddy, thank you so much for the update.
You bet.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio. Go to facebook.com/Clean Radio.
And like us.
And like us, and we do respond. So, Mackenzie, when I posted that you're going to be on the show, we had a lot of likes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, people like Mackenzie Phillips.
I like people.
Yeah.
I like addicts. I like alcoholics. I like people who need to do the deal who are doing the deal. And that always just gets me going.
And so let's get to a call. Let's get to Dennis calling from Torrance. Dennis, welcome to Clean Radio.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, Dennis.
The question is, how are you?
I'm good. And Mackenzie, I used to enjoy One Day at a Time. One of my favorites.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. My daughter, she's 22. She's a drug addict, a heroin addict. I'm clean. And it started out with mental problems.
Right.
At age 13, at age 5, I could see it. She wouldn't play with anybody for no longer. I tried to get her involved in different groups, Girl Scouts, whatever. Wouldn't hang out with any of the girls, just wanted to be alone. I knew right away I had a problem, and I tried to get her socialized as much as I could as she grew up, but never wanted to be part of anybody. One thing led to another. By the time she was 13, she was acting out in school to the point where I had to do what they call an IEP. And
Say that again?
just
Sorry.
that.
What is an IEP?
Oh, I'm sorry, give me one. It is an individual education plan. It's done through the city, LA Unified,
Right.
and basically it allows you to put your kid into a school where it's supervised.
Right.
I understand.
It's sort of like an early
Basically a
15
lockdown
Yeah, it's early.
situation.
So, John, what is she doing? Dennis, where is she now?
Well, let's just cut right to the chase.
Yeah.
To the present moment. She got out of school a year ahead of time. At 17, did all of her grades, turned life around, was doing great. Came home within 6 months. I caught her trying to grow marijuana in my backyard. Then it led to other things. Then it led to people she hung out with. And now it goes straight to coming up here to L.A. to get high with people off of Skid Row with heroin. Now it came right to the point within the last 2 years where she just lives here.
Can I ask you a question? What is her mental health diagnosis?
They try to say she's bipolar,
Right.
but most psychologists say no, she's not. She just has depression issues, self-esteem issues.
Yeah,
and-
here's the thing, Dennis, and this is something that we talk about a lot. You know, most addicts, most alcoholics are dual diagnosed, right? Most of them, it doesn't matter what comes first, the chicken or the egg. The mental problems come first, and then the addiction, or the addiction and the mental problems. Either way, both have to be treated. So, Dennis, it's extremely important that we find a facility for her that deals with both. Because what? So she sobers up, and then she goes out, and she's
Because
still
one isn't
right,
one- yeah.
and she's still got the mental issues when she left the treatment center, the mental health problems.
Right.
So, Dennis,
Yeah.
can you have a pen in front of you?
I do.
Write this number down. It's 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. The call is absolutely free, and we're going to help your daughter. If she's ready to get help, we're going to be ready to help her.
She is.
Okay, so give that number a call right now, and whatever help it is we could do, we'll do it.
Are you serious? You're really going to help this girl?
We help. We try to help everybody.
That's beautiful. You know what, Dennis? You call right
Yeah.
away, because this is amazing that this could happen.
I will.
And
will.
and just keep us in the loop. Let us know what's going on. Okay, Dennis?
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Dennis.
And that was Dennis calling from Torrance. And Mackenzie, it's a huge thing that we talk about. It's a huge thing. Dual diagnosis is a huge problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge and people don't realize that it takes a lot of work. It takes a team sometimes, and not all therapists or psychiatrists are trained in addiction.
Right.
And it bothers me a little bit.
Bothers me a little bit too.
But hopefully Dennis is going to get help. If you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio, so give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222.
I like that number.
It's
Sorry.
easy.
It's a good number.
And let's get to John, who's calling from Los Alamitos. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, John.
Hello, how are y'all?
Hi, John.
How are you?
Good. I'm calling about, I have a 21-year-old son. He's basically been high since he's 15.
Right.
He's been in rehab 4.5 times, twice at the Pasadena recovery, which doesn't matter. There's another one at Covina. But, you know, what the subject is compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the only way I can have compassion with him, because he's so out there all the time, seems to be that, like, compassion from a distance. You know what I mean? I put up with this for, 6 years, that, you know, his mother and his sister, his younger sister, it's just hard for us to even be around him because with his being on drugs and how he acts all the time, you know, yes, you want to see your son, but it's like, after 10 minutes, it's like you feel like you've been with him for 5 hours.
Yeah, I understand. I totally get that.
Because that's what alcoholics and addicts do. We push ourselves on people like a thumb on a bruise.
And then all our protectors either flee or die because we are so dependent.
John, the question is, what are you doing to help yourself?
To help myself?
Yes.
I have to keep a distance. When he calls me, I have to avoid the phone call and call him back in 2 days. When he says he wants to hook up, I put it off for a couple of days, you know, because when I see him, it is so, you know, it's, if I go to see him and we go sit down and have a soda for 20 minutes, I feel like I feel like I cured cancer or something, you know. I mean, I'm mentally drained just from being around him, and his mother's the same way. But, you know, I don't totally, you know, I mean, I love my son. I wish him the best, but I'm sort of, there's nothing really else I can do for him.
Right, but you can help yourself,
Yeah, John. That's what I meant. I meant about you going, you know, it's important for you to have people to talk to about this. And I know it's hard. You know, I'm a big advocate for the 12 steps, and I'm a big advocate for a group like Al-Anon.
Al-Anon
which
is amazing.
Which deals with the family members. And so you have a place that you could go and talk about this. If I know that sometimes it's an extremely uncomfortable thing to do, to sit in a group of people and talk about stuff. But
no, I've done that, but it's been a long time since I've done that. You know, we even got a situation where it was court ordered. I had to go to it. But, you know,
what about that?
I think, you know what I mean? So I worry about him, but is it that I'm not worrying about myself?
Yes, and that's exactly right. It's taking care of yourself so you're better able to handle the situation, that when he calls you, this is not just for you, it's for your wife, it's for your daughter, it's for the family to get better. You're right, he's been messing up, and like we were talking about with that other caller, hey, maybe one day he'll call and say, hey, Dad, I need treatment, and you always put that out there, sort of, But
of course we will. We've already done it for over 4.5 times.
And that's exactly the right thing to do. But it's also good for you to go and get help, so you have somebody to talk to.
Okay, maybe I should do that. I haven't, I never thought about that in a while. Unless when he was in recovery, then I would be going to Alan at the same time. Maybe I don't need to worry about him right now.
You're exactly. You just said it.
That's
man.
the whole point of Al-Anon.
Yes.
And I'm not saying don't go. That conclusion you just came to.
One right over here in Los Alamitos. Right over here by the Catelatelli I could go to. There's plenty of meetings.
That's exactly right. So do us a favor, John. Can you go to a meeting this week?
Of course I can. I go to a meeting within 24 hours.
No, go to a meeting by yourself.
No, that's what I mean.
That's it.
I go to an Al-Anon meeting within 24 hours.
Can you do me a favor and go to one this week? Call us back next week and tell us how it went?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And any help you need, just feel free to give us a call. The number is 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. But also you could go to KLEANradio.com, and any questions or anything we could do is absolutely free to help.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And if you just tuned in, that was John calling from Los Alamitos. If you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with Mac Phillips.
Hey.
And give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Yeah, it's a lot of people out there. And we were talking about the topic tonight is compassion. I love how he just called up because it is hard to have compassion.
Yes.
He's a dad that's gone above and beyond to help his son.
And he also makes it so clear how exhausting we can become. He says, I'm with him 20 minutes. I feel like it's
we're
5
exhausting.
hours. We're exhausting. We're heartbreaking people. We'll suck the life out of you until we get sober. I want to say that I'm very sorry that the 73-year-old who quit smoking meth 6 months ago hung up, because that would have been kind of fascinating.
I would have loved. I think it was Joe, and I think he might be having phone troubles. But Joe, if you call back in, 800-5... Mackenzie, say the number, 800-555.
I will. It's 800-522-5222. Is that right?
Yes, you did great. And,
that's 522-2222.
So Joe, call us back, I think it was, because I'm actually interested in hearing about that, too. Yeah. Let's get to John calling from Portland, Oregon. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, John.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be crisp and brief.
Thank you.
I'm 57 years old. I'm a tech exec here. All the guys I know drink a lot.
Right.
And I probably have 3 or 4 glasses of wine a day. I travel all the time worldwide. It's very easy to be fed and consumed on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 questions and 1 observation.
Mm-hmm.
When do you know that you may or may not have a problem? Number 2, the observation is one of my friends had a very serious problem. And so I did attend Avalon, and I'm married with 3 kids. He's married with 2 kids. This is another tech exec. So I went to Hazleton with him, which is owned by Betty Ford now.
Yes.
And that's an observation. The question with respect to the first question is, I sat through these meetings with him with all these group sessions, and it was, for me, it was exceedingly toxic, radioactive, listening to all these people talk about all their problems.
Right.
So do you believe, the second question specifically following the observation for your audience, is do you believe group therapy is actually helpful or hurtful? Because I thought it was toxic, radioactive, and completely unhelpful, and I walked away feeling totally negative. As an optimistic, positive, company-building guy, I felt like toast.
Okay, John, so here's, let's answer your first question. Let's go for the first question, right? What's your first question?
How do you know?
And you want to know the really simple answer, John?
Sir, yes. Why would I be spending my time?
Yeah, when you ask. When most people ask, do I have an alcohol problem? They probably have an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to help myself and your audience, sir.
What?
I'm trying to help myself and your audience.
No. What I'm saying is that when you start asking, usually, do I have a problem? It's a pretty sure sign that something's amiss. I'm not going to say that you have alcoholism. We can't diagnose you. The only way an alcoholic could diagnose is to diagnose yourself.
Yeah.
According to the AMA, the American Medical Association of America, if you're drinking 4 glasses of wine a day, that's considered heavy drinking. They consider 14 drinks a week heavy drinking.
For men.
For men.
It's 8 for women, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
At first, you have to think about it in your own mind. The second thing you have to do is ask, like I am.
Yes. So, John, you're the only one. Here's the thing. We can't, I get it. You still have an amazing job. You know, you have a family and all these things. And that's why I'm very hesitant sometimes to talk about when people talk about bottoms, right? Mm-hmm. Because when somebody hits a certain bottom, Mackenzie, you've hit a bottom. You hit quite the bottom. And we don't identify bottoms by you lost this or I lost this. It's how it's affecting you mentally, how it's affecting you spiritually.
Yes.
And where you're
at. And where my behavior takes me and what my consequences might be. But I think, for someone like John who's constantly moving and traveling and stuff like that, it's very easy to escape the consequences because you're in constant motion. And so...
that's very well said.
Well, that's why we have Mackenzie Ann. So, John, and to answer your second question about the group therapy, we're big advocates for group therapy.
Huge advocates.
But here's the thing. Group therapy only works if you're ready. And I got to tell you, when I used to be drinking and go to AA meetings.
Oh, man, I hated everybody.
That was the worst.
The most toxic environment in my mind. But once I got clean and sober, it becomes...
A different reaction happened.
Entirely.
And that was my experience because I hated group therapy when I was still drinking.
Me too.
John, did that help at all?
It helps exquisitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Close now and take your next guest.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
I'm a first-time listener. I think it's an excellent program.
So, John, go to Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio, like us, and keep us in the loop. How you doing? Let us know anytime, John. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. I want to get to, we posted on the show, let's have a little bit of
a break.
And we posted, what are some of your favorite movies about alcoholism and addiction? Tammy from Oakland, let's see, she's actually got a good one.
This is a good one.
Yeah. Tammy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. My name's Tammy, and I'm calling from Oakland, California, and I've been clean since 2005.
That's amazing. That's almost, you're coming up on 10 years, Tammy.
That's right. So I'll take 9 for now. So,
exactly.
Sitting across from you is my old college sweetheart who asked me to give a call in today.
Monique Moss?
Mr. Buddy Totten.
Oh, Buddy Totten. Wow.
Buddy, did you hear that? Get back in here, buddy.
Buddy's got to get back into the studio because we have to actually, wow. It's, before Buddy comes back on, does he owe you any amends?
Or money.
Or money.
Or money. Yeah. Oh, I'll take money. I don't think he owes me any, but I'll take it.
So
he just said both.
So Buddy has come back into the studio. So Tammy, you and Buddy went to college together?
Yes, we did.
Yes, 20 years ago.
What's up, Tamster?
Around there.
Wow.
Hey, sister.
Hey.
I'm like, what a blessing, right? That we both end up with the blessings of recovery.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
And it didn't do too much damage to each other way back in the day.
Right. I agree.
That's absolutely amazing. So what was Buddy like in college?
He was a hot drummer.
Wow.
Nice.
That's I've heard Buddy plays the bongos and congas.
Yeah.
What do I know? I'm not a musician.
Afro-Cuban music.
So Tammy, what's your favorite movie?
Okay. Rachel Getting Married.
Good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
And if you're in recovery, it's that great way how not to make amends to your family.
Yes. Can I tell you something? And Tammy, that's actually a great point. And we were going to talk. We were going to talk about that tonight a little bit if we had time, because Rob Ford was in the news. You know, the mayor from Toronto, and he's got a couple minutes sober, and he's asking everybody for forgiveness. and while I have compassion for Rob Ford, and I pray he makes it. When you have a week sober, here's a good note to people. It sometimes is a little too early to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Maybe we can send them the DVD.
Yes, let's send Rob Ford. That's actually great. Let's send Rob Ford KLEAN Radio's top 10 movies about addiction.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And Rachel Getting Married is one of them. I like that idea. Let's do that.
You bet.
And
anyways, recovery is good. It's a lot of fun. Independence and freedom. Man, what a great 4th of July weekend this was.
Yeah,
man. I feel so blessed.
Hear, hear.
It is. It's absolutely amazing. And so obviously you're in the same age bracket as Buddy and I think it offers hope because we've had 2 callers call in. I got sober when I was 22. Buddy got sober when he was a little You know, you're still
38.
you're 38. You're young though,
Right.
And young at heart. And,
Young at heart.
And Tammy, you sound extremely young, even though you have to be the same age as Bruddy. But you know,
I'm about to turn 45 and having the best time of my life.
you don't sound 45, Tammy. And but so you got sober when you were 35, and the reason or 36. But the reason I'm bringing.
Good now.
Yeah, you know.
He's good. He's good. Yeah.
That's what I'm known for is my math skills. And except when I was in school.
Right.
And so, Tammy, here's the thing. The reason I'm talking about this is because we have so much hope in the studio tonight.
Yes.
There's, people that have gone through the craziest things. Mackenzie, your story is intense. And, buddy, I know your story. It's intense. Tammy, if you dated, buddy, your story has to be intense. And Monique Moss's story is intense. So, Tammy, if you can go to cleanradio.com Facebook.com/cleanradio, like us, call us back anytime, Tammy.
You bet. You guys have a great evening.
And I got to meet you one of these days. I got to meet Buddy's past. So thank you, Tammy.
One of these days, I'll make my way to L.A.
Please do.
Bye, Tamster.
Please do.
All right.
Have a
Bye,
great night.
bye.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to Clean Radio. Give us a call. The number is 888-601-6040. That's 888-601.
That's not the number here.
I know, but it's the number since we're closing in. And a lot of people, sometimes Mackenzie, need to talk after the show. So here's the number. It's 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. I wanted to take a call. Let's go to, because I don't have the answer for her, but maybe somebody out there does. Sue from Canoga Park, you've been holding on a really long time.
Yeah, you sure have.
Hi. Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. I do have a caffeine addiction to coffee. I have a health problem that if I keep drinking it, it's very bad for me. The question is, do you know of any facilities that could help me to facilitate getting off? I have 35 years sober. I have over 20. This is my last bastion, and I'm just curious.
Sue, can I ask you a question? Financially, how are you?
Okay.
Here's my best suggestion for you, because there really isn't treatment for this, and I think there probably should be in some ways, because I know a lot of people I know are addicted to coffee, and obviously it's not to the level. But if I were you and I could afford it, I would hire a sober companion for 3 or 4 days just to watch you, make sure you don't drink coffee. And really deal with it, because that's what it sounds like you sort of need. You almost need a babysitter.
Also, you might want to look into a cognitive behavioral therapist, some CBT, some sort of therapy that will help you find out why you're holding on to this last addiction, and maybe other ways of coping that could help you let go of it.
Yeah. But that would be my best suggestion. And I think what Mackenzie said, it's really no different right now for you than the alcohol and the drugs. You got to detox and get off the coffee.
Yep.
And then we could do the therapy.
3.5 years one time, but,
It doesn't matter.
I just need to say, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day? I'm just so curious.
Or Coke.
Well,
or
right now it's maybe 2 Benties, but it doesn't sound like a lot to you, but I have high potassium. And my doctor, told me if it keeps going, I could have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I have high
Wow.
But again, what you just said is what we're always trying to share, is what I was trying to share with that caller from Portland. This isn't it's not the amount.
It's about what happens when you do.
Right. It's about what it's doing to you.
Right.
And that's why we don't look at why we don't compare stories, why we identify.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And Sue, that would be my biggest suggestion to you.
Okay.
And if you want me to find somebody for you that could be a companion to you for 3 or 4 days, we could probably do that.
what does that mean? They move in?
It means literally somebody will probably live with you for 3 or 4 days
to get you off of coffee.
Get you off the coffee.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, my husband, I don't know if he'd go for that.
I didn't say a man. It could be a woman, too. He might go for that. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
At least Sue's laughing tonight.
No, I am laughing.
Yeah.
I'm happy. It's just, all right. Guys, thanks a lot. I'm not going to take any more time.
Sue, I wish I had a better answer.
I know. It's. I was thinking of starting my own Caffeine Anonymous program.
You know what? That might be great.
Idea.
Just don't serve coffee.
I know damn well there's a lot of people out there like me, just not people who have my medical thing.
And that's exactly what you need to look at is the consequence.
For you, but one for my medical, I could. You know what? I could justify it, but I can't justify it anymore. So. Okay, guys.
Sue, thank you so much for the call. And I wish sometimes we had answers for everybody, but
don't.
And It's hard. Coffee addiction, the process addictions that come after after you get sober sometimes are really difficult. If you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, but you're also listening to Mackenzie Phillips. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mackenzie, for coming in tonight. I wanted to get a quick email because a fan actually asked me. The reason I thought about this movie question was because a fan had asked me tonight. She emailed me if The Breakfast Club was on and The Shawshank Redemption was on. Which one would I choose?
Oh my!
And and she goes, or would you just stick with IDTV? And I'm like, wow, you've really been listening to the show a long time.
That's all I watch.
And
IDTV.
So the question is DVR. No, but I don't have cable. But
okay,
I would probably say I'd go with Shaw. I don't know. That's such a tough question.
I'd probably have to watch The Breakfast Club.
Hopefully they stagnate commercials and I could watch both.
Just shift between the two.
But it is a great question, and she also had asked, and I know you've seen the movie Anonymous People.
Yes.
And she asked what I thought of it. I haven't seen it, so what do you think?
I think it's a terrific movie. I think that, once I posted something on Twitter, or I said something on an interview about, there's help everywhere. You can find us in every church basement. Right? And a woman wrote back and she said, which church basement are you in? What do you mean you can find 12 steps in every church basement? She said, I don't even know what that is referring to. And it made me realize that for some people, we are hard to find. And so the more people that come out and speak openly about their recovery and about what it's been like and about what they do to maintain it, the more people it will be available to. And so...
And it's also important to share, and I've said this because I don't think a lot of people realize this. There's a big difference. You're okay. It's okay to say you're sober. You don't have to say where or how.
Right.
But you can say I'm sober. And, they say it's a program of attraction, not promotion. And if people are attracted enough, they're going to say to you, how'd you do it?
Right.
And then you could share it. But you don't have to say how, but there's nothing wrong with saying I'm sober.
Right. I say it all the time. Because I think it's important. Now, a lot of what they were talking about in the Anonymous People was like this grassroots movement, heroes and faces in recovery, and I think that's great.
So there you go. That's your answer for Anonymous People. Mac Phillips, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Sure.
I want to know who got sober tonight by listening to you. I want to thank everybody. Discussion continues.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.